Hello everyone, we're back and we're going to look at page 20 in the notes about polynomial division. And we started off this unit by naming polynomials but looking at how to add, subtract, and multiply them. And I told you we'd get to division, but it would be a little later because it's a little more involved. We're going to look at some methods of division today. We'll look at another method tomorrow. Division is actually a pretty important polynomial operation because eventually, like Thursday and Friday, we're going to see that we can use this division to be able to solve certain types of polynomial equations. More with that on Thursday and Friday. Right now we're just going to focus on what are our different methods of division and how to use these different methods. So there are three different methods that we're going to look at. The first method of division we're going to call separating the fraction. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because we already did that earlier this year. Separating the fraction is our first method of polynomial division. Won't be a big deal. Second method we're going to look at is long division. And that should also sound familiar, not so much from this year, but from third grade or fourth grade. And we're actually going to see that polynomial long division will, in a way, look fairly similar to the long division that you learned about back in third grade and fourth grade. Our final method, which we're going to save for tomorrow, is called synthetic division. And we're going to see that long division is probably going to be the most involved of our three different types of division methods. However, long division will work for any sort of polynomial division problem. Separating the fraction division only works for very specific types, as does synthetic division. So we really do need to learn all three of these methods. Method number one, division by separating the fraction. This method only works when dividing by a monomial. This method only works when dividing by a monomial. This method I'm about to show you, division by separating the fraction, will only work when we are dividing by a monomial. So if you take a look at letters A and B on the bottom of your page, dividing by 2xy, dividing by 5x cubed y squared, but I'm not dividing by x plus 2 or x squared minus 3x plus 1 or anything like that, because those wouldn't be monomials. Letter A, I want to divide this polynomial by 2xy. And first I'm going to write it in another form. Division problems really are just big fractions. So I'm going to write it as a big fraction. I'm going to say this whole thing is getting divided by 2xy. And then I'm going to do exactly what the title suggests. I'm going to separate my fraction into three little fractions. I'm going to say 26x to the third y squared over the denominator of 2xy. Then I'm going to say minus 18x squared y squared over 2xy. And finally, I'm going to say plus 10xy over 2xy. I'm going to separate my fraction, dividing each of the terms in the numerator by 2xy. Well, now I'm just going to go and I'm going to use my laws of exponents. Well, first of all, 26 divided by 2, that's just 13. That's normal division. But x cubed divided by x squared, remember when you divide, you subtract the powers. That's going to give us x squared. I might have said that wrong. X cubed divided by x will give us x squared. And then y squared divided by y will give us just y. I bet you can do the other two pieces. What's that second piece going to give you? 18 divided by 2 is 9. X squared divided by x is x. Y squared divided by y is y. What about the last piece? What's that going to give you? I think that should just be plus 5. And that's my final answer. And this method is division by separating the fraction. Not a big deal, you already learned this earlier in the year, but it only works if we're dividing by a monomial. You go try letter B. You know what, why don't I go straight into my separated version? So this is what your separating steps should look like. Then I'm going to go use my, division with the numbers, laws of exponents with the variables. 30 divided by 5 is 6. X to the 6th divided by x to the 3rd is x to the 3rd. Y squared divided by y squared, those are gone. Next piece, 45 divided by 5 is 9. X to the 8th divided by x to the 3rd is x to the 5th. Y to the 3rd divided by y squared is y. And then at the end, 20 divided by 5, that's 4. X to the 4th divided by x to the 3rd, that's x. Y to the 5th divided by y squared, that is y cubed. And this is division by separating the fraction. We're going to spend the rest of today looking at polynomial long division. And I'm moving on to page 21. And you know what? I know this may look a little bit silly, but just go with me on this. Before we look at dividing polynomials by long division, I would just like to remind you how we can divide just numbers by using long division. There are 4 steps when we do long division. Actually, let me do that so we can get the whole thing in there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some division. I can't do 4 divided by 7, so I'm going to do 49 divided by 7. And 49 divided by 7 is 7. I'll stick a 7 up top. I'm then going to multiply. 7 times 7 gives me 49. I'm then going to subtract. And I'm going to hope this is looking a little bit familiar. 49 minus 49 gives me 0. And I'm going to go and bring down the 6. And then I'm going to start my division process over. 7 goes into 6 no times. 6 divided by 7 doesn't go in any full times. Then I'm going to multiply. 0 times 7 is 0. I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6. And I'm going to bring down the 8. How many times does 7 go into 68? Well, 9 times. 9 times 7 is 63. I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 5. Bring down the 6. How many times does 7 go into 56? Well, 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract, we get 0. And 7 divided into 49,686 gives us 7,098. The 4 steps that we just keep repeating. We are going to divide. We are going to multiply. We are going to subtract. And we are going to bring down and repeat. And again, I really hope this is looking familiar. Can you take a moment and do letter B? And once you get to the 5 at the end and deal with that, just stop. There's something a little different that's going to happen. I don't want to get decimal answers. We'll talk about the ending when we get there. But see what you can do in letter B using long division. Not using the calculator, not using shortcuts. So, how many times does 6 go into 51? Well, first of all, how many times does 6 go into 5? It doesn't. So how many times does 6 go into 51? I'm thinking 8. 8 times 6 is 48. I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 3. I'll bring down the 8. How many times does 6 go into 38? Should be 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract, we get 2. How many times does 6 go into 23? 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract, and we'll get 5. Bring down the 5. And how many times does 6 go into 55? 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54. Subtract, we're going to get 1. Now, I know you learned in middle school you can start adding decimal points and zeros and stuff, but we're going to go back to like before then. In 3rd grade and 4th grade, when you first learned this and you had a number left over, we would have called that number a remainder. And we can say there's a remainder of 1. There is another way we can write this, though. We can also say it's 8,639 and a sixth plus 1/6. And we're actually going to see when we get into our polynomial things, we're going to write remainders as little fractions like that. Please make sure this whole page is in your notes, and then we'll start getting into our polynomials. Okay. On the next page, we are going to look at dividing some polynomials by long division. X squared plus 5x plus 6, I want to divide that by x plus 2. And the first thing I'm going to do is write this like a normal looking long division problem. I'm going to say x squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 2. And actually, I want to do this problem twice. I want to first do this, and I want you to not write anything down. I just want you to watch. I want you to watch the entire process and see how it all works together. Then, I'm going to go back through this problem a little bit slower, and that's when we'll write down our process, and you're going to start taking notes and all of that stuff. But for right now, for the first time I do it, I don't want you to write a single thing down. I want to divide x plus 2 into x squared plus 5x plus 6. One more time, do not write anything down. I'm going to go use those 4 steps from long division. I'm going to divide, I'm going to multiply, I'm going to subtract, I'm going to bring down. Here's how this works. I'm first going to divide, and by divide, I'm going to divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. Don't write any of this down. I know you want to, but don't do that. I'm going to divide x squared by x. And when I do that, x squared divided by x gives me x. And that's my first division answer. Now, I'm going to write that answer not above the x squared term, but I want to line up like terms. So I'm going to put it above the x term. I'm going to stick it over there. And I've divided. Now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply that answer, that x, by everything out front before my division symbol. So I'm going to do x times x. That's going to give me x squared. Then I'm going to do x times 2. That's going to give me 2x. I've divided, and I just multiplied. Now I need to subtract. I need to subtract this thing from the top line. Well, I'm going to stick some parentheses in here and put a minus sign before them. I need to go do x squared minus x squared. That's gone away. And if you do this correctly, the first term always should go away. Then I'm going to do 5x minus 2x, and that's going to give me 3x. I've divided, I've multiplied, and now I've subtracted. Which means my next step is to bring down that next term. I'm going to bring down a plus 6. And I'm going to start my division process over. I'm now going to divide. I'm going to divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. I'm going to do 3x divided by x, and that's going to give me an answer of 3. I'll write that up top above the constant term. I'm going to say plus 3. Now I'll multiply. I'm just going to multiply that answer, that 3, by both things out front. I'm going to do 3 times x, and I'm going to get 3x. I'm going to do 3 times 2, and I'm going to get 6. I'm now going to put in parentheses, and subtract. Parentheses there, I'm going to subtract. 3x minus 3x gives me 0. 6 minus 6 gives me 0. I'm done. There's no remainder. We'll deal with remainders later. And I've got my answer. X squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 2 is x plus 3. We're going to go back through this slowly. I'm going to write down the steps. I realize this looks very, very complicated right now. I promise you, if you stick with me throughout this entire video, you will be fine by the end of the video. But it's going to take us a little while to get into this stuff. Let's write this down in notes. Actually, let me see. I did this on the back of the page of my calendar. Oh, here's a squirrel and a deer. I've got squirrel a day calendar things. Isn't that wonderful? Okay. Anyhow, enough with that. Let me show you how to go do polynomial division. Step number 1. And now I do want you writing this down in your notes. The first thing I'm going to do is divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. First step is division. What we're going to do is divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. Step number 1 is I need to divide. And when I divide, I'm going to divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. I'm going to go do the division problem, x squared divided by x, which just gives me x. I'll write that answer above the x term. I'm always going to line up my like terms. Divide the leading term inside by the leading term outside. X squared divided by x gives me x. Step number 2. I'm going to multiply that answer by everything that's on the outside. I'm going to multiply that answer by everything that's outside. Which means I need to go do the problem x times x plus 2. Step number 2 is I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply that answer by everything that's outside. So let's go do it. X times x, that's x squared. And again, I'm always going to line up like terms here. X times 2 is 2x. Step number 3. I'm going to put in parentheses, and I'm going to subtract. Put in parentheses, and subtract. I'm not convinced the orange was really showing up, so let me see. Oh, I bet I can use the red. Put in parentheses and subtract. I'm going to put some parentheses around this and a minus sign before it. I'm going to subtract x squared minus x squared. That's 0. It's gone. 5x minus 2x. That's 3x. Step number 4. I'm going to bring down the next term and repeat. Bring down the next term and repeat. Bring down the next term and repeat. I'm going to bring down the plus 6 and I'm going to start my division process again. I'm going to go do 3x divided by x. 3x divided by x is 3. I'm going to stick a plus 3 up top. Now I'll multiply. 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times 2 gives me 6. I'm going to put in parentheses and subtract. Everything canceled. We have no remainder. And my answer is x plus 3. This process is long division. By the way, I want to note something. If you were to do this in reverse, if you were to multiply x plus 3 times x plus 2, you'd get your original problem back. If you did x plus 2, the thing we were dividing by, times our answer, we'd get x squared plus 5x plus 6. Or if we took this and factored, we would get this, the factor that I told you we were dividing by, and the answer we got, we're actually going to see not in this section, but in the next section, we can use division to help us factor things that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to factor. I'm going to make the video pause so you can get caught up on anything that's on the top if you need to. Okay, so all we're doing for the rest of today is a whole lot of practice with this stuff. Let's try letter A, and we're going to do this together. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and start over. The first thing I need to do is the little division problem, x cubed divided by x, and I always write those out on the side. My first division problem is x cubed divided by x, and x cubed divided by x is... I hope you said it was x squared. So I'm going to write that above the x squared term. I've divided. Now I'm going to multiply. You need to multiply x squared times both of those things out front. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 4 is 4x squared. We've divided. Now we've multiplied. You'll help me with probably the next multiplication step. I'm going to put in parentheses, and I'm going to subtract. X cubed minus x cubed, gone. 9 minus 4x squared, 9x squared minus 4x squared, 5x squared. I'm going to bring down the next term, and I'm going to start over, and you're going to help me out with a lot of this. First division problem should be 5x squared divided by x. What is 5x squared divided by x? I hope you said that was 5x. I'm going to stick that up top. I'm now going to multiply 5x times x plus 4. What is 5x times x plus 4? 5x times x plus 4 should be 5x squared plus 20x. Okay, time for parentheses. We're going to subtract. What do you get after you subtract? (5x squared minus 5x squared, gone. 17x minus 20x, negative 3x. I'm going to bring down the last term, and I'm going to start over. Okay, so here we go. Negative 3x divided by x gives you, I'm hoping you said negative 3. I'll put a minus 3 over there. Now we're going to multiply. Negative 3 times the whole thing out front gives you what? Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Put in parentheses and subtract. What are you left with? Those are gone. Negative 3x minus negative 3x, that's negative 3x plus 3x, gone. Negative 12 minus negative 12, negative 12 plus 12, that's 0. Your answer is x squared plus 5x minus 3. We're not going to do it, but if I was to write this out times this and FOILed, I would get this original problem back. I want to see if you can do this next one on your own, but how about this? How about in letter B, you just go and do the first round. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, then stop. Then we'll compare notes, because unfortunately with these problems, if you make a small mistake early on, that mistake never really goes away. That mistake is always going to sort of be there and will make everything else even more wrong. So divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, then stop in letter B. Okay, divide. 4x to the fourth divided by x should give us 4x to the third. 4x to the third. I'm going to multiply. 4x to the third times x is 4x to the fourth. 4x to the third times minus 2 is minus 8x to the third. I'm going to subtract. Negative 14 minus negative 8 is negative 14 plus 8 is negative 6x to the third. And I'm going to bring down 17x squared. And then it's time to start again. I'd like to see if you can go do the next round of division. Although, I'd like you to go divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, then stop and we'll compare notes again. Okay, divide. Negative 6x to the third divided by x should give us negative 6x squared. I'm going to multiply. Negative 6x squared times x will give me negative 6x cubed. Negative 6x squared times negative 2 will give me plus 12x squared. Thank you. I'm going to put in parentheses, and I'm going to subtract, being super careful with my signs with all this stuff. Gone. 17 minus 12 is 5x squared. I'm going to bring down that next term. And same deal as before. I'd like to see if you can go do the next round. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, stop, and we'll compare notes. Divide. 5x squared divided by x gives me 5x. Multiply. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times minus 2 is minus 10x. Put in parentheses and subtract. Negative 11x minus negative 10x should give you, okay, negative 11 plus 10 should give me negative 1x. Plus 2. One more round. See if you can finish this one. I'm going to go do negative 1x divided by x. That's going to give me negative 1. I'll write that over there. Multiply negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is plus 2. Parentheses and subtract. Very nicely, everything canceled. It divided evenly. My answer is 4x to the third minus 6x squared plus 5x minus 1. This is the basic process behind long division. We're going to spend the rest of this video just looking at a few more variations on this, but our process is not going to change. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Keep doing all that. I'll make the video pause if you need to get caught up on anything here, and then we'll go on. Okay, so, you know what, letter C, I think you can go do. Something weird's going to happen at the end, so just leave it. Just stop when you get to the end. We'll talk about how to deal with that. But see if you can go do your long division process on letter C. Okay, divide. X squared divided by x, that's going to give me x. Multiply. X times x is x squared. X times minus 2 is minus 2x. parentheses so we can subtract. Gone. 3x minus negative 2x, 3x plus 2x should give us 5x. Bring down, and we'll start this thing over. I'm now going to divide. 5x divided by x is going to give me 5. I'm going to put a 5 up top. 5 times x, 5x. 5 times minus 2, minus 10. Parentheses. Subtract. Uh-oh. You should be left with a negative 2. It didn't divide in evenly. If you multiply x plus 5 times x minus 2, no, you're not quite going to get that thing over there. This minus 2 is a remainder. And as I think I've mentioned before, we're going to write remainders as fraction problems, sometimes plus a fraction, but in this case, since the remainder was a negative number, I'm going to say minus 2 over the thing I was dividing by. My remainder is going to be minus 2 over x minus 2. We're going to say write remainders like this. Oops, sorry. Write remainders like that. I want to see if you can do letter D, and when you're done with D, send the remainder into Edpuzzle. There will be a remainder. Tell me what that is and send it into Edpuzzle. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do anything, I guess I need to write this like a normal looking long division problem. Okay, now I think you can go do this and send the remainder into Edpuzzle. Divide. Multiply x squared times x cubed. X squared times minus 4x squared. Put in parentheses and subtract. Gone. Negative 3 minus negative 4 is positive 1, so x squared. Bring down. We'll start again. X squared divided by x gives me x. Multiply x times x squared. X times minus 4x. Parentheses and subtract. Negative 2x minus negative 4x is, negative 6x minus negative 4x is negative 2x. Bring down. And I think we're ready to start again. Negative 2x divided by x should give me negative 2. Negative 2 times that whole thing is negative, oops, hold on, sorry. Negative 2 there. I'm going to get a negative 2x plus 8. Parentheses, and I'm going to subtract. Gone. 14 minus 8 should give me 6. I'm going to get plus 6 over x minus 4. I hope you sent in either 6 or 6 over x minus 4 into Edpuzzle. Hold on 1 second here. Okay. Let's see. If you haven't finished copying, get that copied down. Okay. We're going to take a look at letter E. And actually, there are two things different about letter E than other problems that we've looked at. What's different about E? So first of all, I'm used to dividing by things with a coefficient of 1. Here I've got a coefficient of 2. Okay, whatever. But the other issue is you should have noticed x to the 4th, x squared, x, 3. You're missing an x cubed term. Note, we're missing an x to the 3rd. And that's actually not okay as far as keeping like terms in place and all that stuff when we're doing long division. if you are missing a term, we need to include it in our long division setup with a 0 coefficient. I'm going to write that over here. If you are missing a term, we're going to include it with a 0 coefficient. So all that I mean by that is when I set up my division problem, I'm going to get 2x minus 1 divided into 12x to the 4th plus 0x to the 3rd minus x squared minus x plus 3. I just need this 0x to the 3rd to be included there. Get that setup down. Okay, and now we are going to divide. I think I'm going to get you started with this, but then you'll try to finish this one off. I'm going to divide leading term here by leading term there. 12x to the 4th divided by 2x. Well, that works. I'm going to get 6x to the 3rd. Honestly, that's one reason why I need to have that 0x to the 3rd, so I have a place to write my 6x to the 3rd answer. Now I'm going to multiply. 6x to the 3rd times 2x is 12x to the 4th, and 6x to the 3rd times minus 1 is minus 6x to the 3rd. Another reason I need the 0x to the 3rd, so this has a place to go. Parentheses, and we're going to subtract. Gone. 0 minus negative 6 is 6x to the 3rd. Bring down minus x squared. I'd like to see if you can finish. And, oh, you know what? Something strange will happen at the end as well. See how far you can get, and I'll help you finish this off if you get a little bit stuck at the end. Divide 6x to the 3rd divided by 2x gives us 3x squared. I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to multiply 3x squared times 2x is 6x to the 3rd. 3x squared times minus 1 is minus 3x squared. Parentheses, and I'm going to subtract. Gone. Negative 1 minus negative 3 is positive 2x squared. And bring down the next term. So I'm going to divide. 2x squared divided by 2x gives me x. Let's see, I'll put an x up top. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times minus 1 is minus x. Parentheses, subtract, oh. Yeah, so here's that kind of strange thing that I told you was going to happen. Gone. These are also gone. I still have something to bring down. However, you can't do any more division. You can't do 3 over 2x. That won't give you anything. I'm done, and I have my remainder. My remainder is going to be plus 3 over 2x minus 1. Whoops, yeah. See if you can do F on your own. I hope you noticed it was missing a y term. So 3y plus 2 divided into 9y to the 3rd minus 12y squared plus 0y minus 1. Here goes. Divide. I'm getting 3y squared. Multiply. 9y cubed plus 6y squared. Parentheses, and we're going to subtract. Gone. Negative 12 minus 6 is negative 18y squared. Bring down the 0y. Divide. Negative 18y squared divided by 3y gives me negative 6y. Multiply. Negative 6y times 3y is negative 18y squared. Negative 6y times 2 is negative 12y. Parentheses, and we're going to subtract. Gone. 12y. Bring down the minus 1. Divide. 12y divided by 3y gives me 4. Multiply. 12y plus 8. Parentheses, we're going to subtract. Gone. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9, and that's my remainder. Minus 9 over 3y plus 2. I'll make the video pause if you need another moment with this. Okay, one more variation we need to look at. Next page. How is letter G different? Well, in letter G, we're dividing by a quadratic trinomial. Neither of these things would work in some of the other division methods that we'll deal with. Long division is really the only way we can deal with this. Here's the good news, though. Nothing changes in the process. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to say x squared plus 5x minus 6, and I'm dividing that into x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 17x squared plus 38x minus 24. Our division is the same. Leading term inside by the leading term outside. I'm going to do x to the fourth divided by x squared, and that's going to give me x squared. I'm going to write it above the x squared term, which actually means I'm already like halfway through this thing. I'm going to multiply. The only difference is I've got to multiply this by all three pieces out front. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times 5x is plus 5x cubed. X squared times minus 6 is minus 6x squared. Parentheses, and we'll subtract. Gone. 2 minus 5 is negative 3x to the third. Negative 17 plus 6 is negative 11x squared. Bring down the next piece, and we're ready to start over. See if you can do the next round of divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then stop. Divide. Negative 3x to the third divided by x squared gives me negative 3x. Multiply. Negative 3x to the third minus 15x squared plus 18x. Parentheses, and we're going to subtract. Gone. Negative 11 minus negative 15 is positive 4x squared. 38 minus 18 is plus 20x. Bring down. One more round to go. Finish this one off, please. Divide. Multiply. Oh, this is looking nice. Yes, it is. Parentheses, subtract. Gone, gone, gone. No remainder. My answer is x squared minus 3x plus 4. See if you can do letter H, and then we're set for today. Try letter H on your own. Let's just go. 2x to the fifth. That's on the screen. I am. 2x to the fifth divided by 2x squared gives me 1x to the third. Multiply. 2x to the fifth minus 5x to the fourth plus 3x to the third. Parentheses and subtract. And actually, gone, you're just left with x to the third. We always need to be dealing with the same number of terms inside that we have outside. Normally I would bring down one term, but if I did that, I'd only have two terms inside, and I want three terms inside. So I'm actually going to bring down the next two terms. Divide. 8x to the third divided by 2x squared. That's going to give me 4x. Put that above the x term. Multiply. 8x cubed minus 20x squared plus 12x. Parentheses, and we're going to subtract. Gone. Negative 2x squared plus 5x, and then a minus 3. One more round. Negative 2x squared divided by 2x squared gives me negative 1. Negative 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Everything's gone. Your answer is x cubed plus 4x minus 1. This is polynomial long division, and I hope that even if you were a little confused in the beginning, by the time we've gotten to this, hopefully you're feeling a little better about this. Just out of curiosity, so I kind of know what we're doing tomorrow in class, how much more practice we need to do with this. On a scale of 1 to 5, how are you feeling about this stuff right now? I think that's all I have to say about things. The next topic we're going to deal with is another method of division called synthetic division. We're going to see it's going to go much faster than long division, but won't work for certain types of problems, won't work for G or H, or for that matter, E or F. Will only work for very specific types of division problems. But we will deal with that tomorrow. And I'll see you later. Take care.